Hey guys, this is Brett with Broussard Homestead, and I'm sweating. We're out here cutting okra. This is late July, we're almost into August, midsummer, South Louisiana. It's hot. It is hot. But the okra loves it. Ideally, we would do this early in the morning or late in the evening, but we had some things going on this morning, so we're out here. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's already pretty hot. So we're just gonna harvest some okra and talk about how we do so. You see, this is a nice, good sized pod that's soft. So we're just going to take it off, and we also take the leaf below it. The reason why we take the leaf is because as we thin the plants to make them more like a canopy, the air can flow right in between there, and it cuts down on bugs and diseases. It's just something we've learned from generations ago, our parents and grandparents. Now this one, I like the look of this one, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bend it down like that. And what that does is it tells us that we're going to leave it alone, we're going to leave it on the plant and let it dry so that we can collect seed. This okra is from at least 2 generations ago. So we're the 3rd generation collecting this seed, growing this plant. At least we think that Amy's great-grandfather may have started this whole process, but anyway, I don't know what variety this okra is, even if it really is a variety anymore. It's heirloom seed that we've just been, every year we collect our own seed. Watch for a video in the future. Once these pods are dry on the plant and ready to collect, we'll do a video on collecting the okra seed and saving it. We've been growing this okra pretty much every year for, what would you say, at least 5 years. We've been here on this homestead for 3 now. We're in 2018, in case you're watching this video later. So for 3 years here on this homestead, we've been growing this okra and had great success with it. In fact, in the past couple of summers, we've sold the okra and made a decent little income. Nothing to get rich by any means, but we in our area for sure, we can sell a gallon size Ziploc cut okra for $8 to $10. Cut and frozen okra. Yeah, if you guys have sensitive skin, you're going to want to wear gloves, long sleeves in doing this, because it can make you really itchy. This is what the okra patch looks like after we're done harvesting. It can be kind of intimidating for somebody who's growing a crop for the first time to make their plants look like this, but it really is for the health of the plant. As long as the plant still has a couple leaves on top and it can still photosynthesize, it's in good health. It's actually in better health because there's airflow, like we talked about, and the leaves that we've cut, we've just dropped them in place so that they can break down and help to feed the plants. Now, from these 3 short rows, today we've collected, what would you say, probably 4 or 5 pounds there.
Roughly.
So it doesn't take a whole lot of space to grow okra. We do our best to grow everything organic, as organic as possible. We use things like diatomaceous earth, which is a non-chemical thing that we can apply for ants and bugs and whatnots. Occasionally, if things are really bad, we'll use a little ant poison. We've been known to use a little 7 dust. I'm not opposed to things like that. But the closer to natural, the closer to organic that we can get, the better for us, because we have to ingest this stuff. We eat the things that we produce. So I'm careful about what we put in our bodies. So here we are back in the kitchen. We've got our okra pods rinsed and we're starting to slice them up. You can slice them as thick or as thin as you like. Typically, we slice them thin if we're going to use them for gumbo or stew or soup, and we'll slice them thicker, like probably like that, about that thick for frying. And we hope to do a video on that in the future. But for this, we're cutting for gumbo, so we're slicing thin. And these little tips, you can either keep those in or take them out. We're just tossing them out because we're going to compost those, so they're not going to waste. There's no exact science to this. It's just like Momo used to be. Now if you come across a pod like this, what you see here is fire ant damage, because the fire ants like to eat okra just like we do. I guess we've got Cajun fire ants. So what we're going to do is just cut that off, and the rest of that is just fine. And also, if you come across a pod that the knife doesn't just slide through so easily, it'll make a crunching sound. I don't think we have any hard pods, but that's a hard pod, and you don't really want to use that because it won't soften up in cooking. The hard pods are the older pods. They've been left on the plant for too long. You want to harvest the okra pods while they're still young and tender. Inside the okra, each of these are the seeds. At this point, they're not viable. When they're left on the plant, they turn a dark green. This whole seed turns a dark green, and it's dry. Those are the viable seeds. These won't make okra. They're too young and tender. This pod is a little tough, but this one's still okay. But do you hear that crunching sound? If you have that crunching sound and it doesn't want to cut very well, sometimes it'll even mash the okra, kind of like that, instead of cutting through it. Then you know you've got a hard pod, and you don't want to use those. You can just compost those.
Or throw them to your chickens.
Or throw them to the chickens. And if you don't have chickens, you should. Caitlin's planning on making a video about why you should raise chickens and how much she enjoys it. Well, all of our okra is cut up and sliced the way we want it, and we just put it in Ziploc bags. These gallon bags hold about 4 pounds, and we're just going to throw it in the freezer just like this. Honestly, I can't say how long it keeps in the freezer, but I can say probably about 6 months. And the reason why I say that is because when we have this in the freezer like that, we use it pretty quick. We're in South Louisiana. This is what we eat. Especially when fall comes, and the first cool days of fall, we love to make gumbo, and okra is wonderful in gumbo. So we hope the information that we put in this video has been helpful, and we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Until next video, this is Brett with Broussard Homestead.